Oh, fine. In the last session, what we did, we created primary ledger, right? We created primary ledger. Now tell me, how many companies we have? How many we created? Three companies we have. Okay. We have with the different names, right? Say HCL, Financial Services, of HCL Consulting Services, HCL BPO Services. So these three type of businesses, say client is running only in India. That is the reason we taken those all are part of India primary ledger. To run the business in any country and anywhere, what we have to do? First, to run the business, to start with the business, what process company has to follow? First, registration, yes. So first we have to register the company. Based on the registration, we have to do the business. Okay, the based on registration only with the with the reference of the registration, we have to do the tax reporting to government, right? So now tell me, to run these three different businesses, how many registrations you think really required?
One.
Yes, there are two possibilities. That's all about how the company has to go. Okay, how they want to go about it. When we are running this 3 or n number of businesses in one country, one registration is enough. If you are going to do the business in another country, definitely for each country, we have to go with the separate registration. Within one country, one registration is must. Now here we are taking the case, the company is running the three businesses in India only. In that case, they can go with the one registration, or else they can go with the three. Is there any other possibility? Don't say no. Think and tell me. They can go, yes, two registrations also. Maybe for these two companies, one registration, for this separate, or else for first two, one, and for this one, and first and last, one, and other one, two. There are possibilities. That depends, like how they want to manage their business operation, how they want to report. Okay, based on that, company will take decision. Generally, minimum one. If you have one registration for these three, you can run the business. Okay. Now what we have to do is, when we are just when company is going to maintain this information, how many companies they have, departments, accounts, etc., all the information as a part of chart of accounts. Okay, the chart of accounts we are taking as a part of primary ledger and all. By using the primary ledger, we will be recording the transactions. Okay, when we are recording the transactions, we should specify the each transaction we are recording. That means we are recording the transaction, means the recording transactions belongs to company. That company is following which registration we have to specify. Every business transaction should be related to some registration. That means every transaction definitely belongs to some company. The company should have some registration. In every transaction, we should have a registration specification also, by following under which registration we are running this company. That's what we have to specify. So what are the registrations company has? The registrations we have to create in the system. Okay, we are creating everything, right? Just they are going to use ERP product, Oracle application, the sense everything total their business data we have to maintain. Their registration data also we have to maintain the system. Now the requirement is we have to maintain the company registration information in system. To maintain the company registration information in the system, the company registration information we have to create in the system as a legal entity. Legal entity is nothing but company registration information. So in every transaction we have to include which legal entity the transaction belongs to. Means this company will be reporting, or we are running that company under which registration. That we have to specify. The same we can use for legal reporting purpose. So in system, what we have to do? We have to create legal entity. Okay, legal entity. Okay, company registration information we have to create as a legal entity. Yeah, fine. So we have to create the legal entity. Purpose is it's all about company registration information. We are just maintaining in the system as a legal entity information. Done. Okay. I'll create one legal entity. The name I'll give, just I'll be creating. For that, I'll give the name as HCL India legal entity. Just for example, I'm giving the name HCL India legal entity. Fine, I created. Now this legal entity for which company? HCL, we have three different businesses. This legal entity for which legal entity, which company? One or two or three or two, just that you have to specify, right? So if you create just like this, system cannot understand. System cannot understand. So for that reason, what we have to do is this legal entity, okay. So this legal entity, between this legal entities and do this companies, we have to do some mapping, some assignments. Okay, what we have to do is we have to assign this company to legal entity. Don't take this point, try to understand. Okay, so we have to see here, we have registration. We are going to run the business with this title, with this company. This is following which registration? Say HCL India legal entity, that registration. In that case, will be just mapping, but reality the naming convention will be giving with respect to with the registration name only. Just for example, I am writing as HCL India legal entity. I am writing, but reality the actual business name will be writing as a legal entity name. So if you have a registration with this, you'll be writing the legal entity name also HCL Financial Services. Your business name is same and the registration name also will be same. But just for our understanding, I am writing the name in this way. Okay. So when we are working, the client will be providing with what name they registered, in which address they registered. Generally, the registration address would be their corporate office address. Okay. So that everything they'll be providing, just we have to enter in the system. How to do it, we'll discuss. Before that, how these definitions can be managed in the system, we'll try to understand. So when you have company, the company definitely has to associate with a particular legal entity, so that when you record the transactions with this company, system will understand, okay, that transaction related reporting should be done with the reference of this registration information or registration number. That's how system will understand. Okay, now requirement is we have to assign companies to legal entities. We have to assign companies to legal entities. So as per system, directly we cannot assign companies to legal entities. Directly we cannot assign companies to legal entities. So what we have to do is, where we have those companies, where we have these companies. Simple answers. Simple, you can say in primary ledger. If you go detail level, we have within the chart of accounts. Still detail level means under company segment. More, still if you want to give more detail level, in company value set. Company value set we assign to company segment, that is part of chart of accounts. Chart of account now we have as a part of primary ledger. Simply you can say these companies we have in our primary ledger. You can say in that. Okay, we have in the primary ledger. Now we want to assign these companies to relevant legal entity. I can have three legal entities. I can assign financial services to one legal entity. Okay, another to consulting, BPO services to BPO legal entity. BPO services legal entity I can assign if I have three. But now we are taking the case as only one. In case of one, these three we have to assign to one, so that system will understand in each and every transaction, the transactions whatever recorded we are recording with these three companies need to be reported to government by following which registration. Done. So in that case, requirement is we have to assign the companies to legal entity, but directly that is not possible within the system. Then how we can manage this assignment? What we will do is, to assign these companies to legal entities, first we have to assign legal entity to primary ledger, so that there will be some connectivity, there will be some relation will be established. Once you assign legal entity to primary ledger, within the primary ledger, what are the companies you have? Those you can assign to legal entity. Done. Directly you cannot assign. For that reason, what we have to do? So first, what we are going to do in the system is, first we'll be creating the legal entity. Just I'm giving some examples. Name. Okay, you may create the legal entity with this name. After creating the legal entity, what we have to do? We have to assign legal entity to primary ledger. Reason is, within the primary ledger, what are the companies values we have? Those we have to assign to legal entity. For that reason, directly you cannot assign. That is the reason. First, assign legal entity to primary ledger. Say assign first we'll create legal entity, then we'll assign legal entity to primary ledger. Primary ledger short name PL, right? Primary ledger. Legal entity short name is LE. See, these when you're writing, you can write short names, but usage point of view, generally we don't use as a PL something else. Okay, LES you can call. In general usage, you can call as LE. PL just will be writing, but you may call as a ledger, but not very short name PL. But that's what we can take it. Okay, first we are going to create the legal entity. Then the same legal entity will assign to primary ledger. In primary ledger, what we have? Companies we have. Companies we have to assign to legal entity. Okay, companies we have to assign to legal entity. Fine. Now tell me, for company segment, which qualifier we assign? Balancing segment flex field qualifier. Okay, balancing segment flex field qualifier. Okay, so now what we'll do is, for company we assign the segment flex field qualifier called as balancing segment flex field qualifier. If you assign balancing segment flex field qualifier to any segment, that segment can be called as segment. We discussed already. You should read and remember, that's it. Okay, if you assign balancing segment flex field qualifier to any segment, that segment you can call as balancing segment. Under company, what are the values we have? Those values we are calling as company segment values, right? When you call segment as a balancing segment, under that what are the values we have? You can call as balancing segment values. Now for our company, we assign the balancing segment flex field qualifier. Company segment values we can call as balancing segment values. Now from now, don't call the values as a company segment values. From now, call it as balancing segment values. This is the term always we have to use. The reason is we assign that qualifier. Okay. Now tell me what we have to do next step. First we'll create the legal entity, then we'll assign the legal entity to primary ledger. Third step, assign. Yeah, tell me, assign balancing segment values to legal entry. That's all. In short, we call as BSV. After completing this task, finally our current ledger status is in progress, right? After completing all these, you can complete the ledger definition. Say primary ledger. Okay, after completing these 3 tasks, okay, we can complete the primary ledger definition. Means primary ledger creation will be completed with the status completed, done. So after completing this, what we'll do, we'll just, our primary ledger is ready to use. We'll go and create the responsibility. We'll assign primary ledger to responsibility by using which profile option? Don't call it a general ledger, I told. GL ledger name. By using GL ledger name profile option, we can assign Primary ledger to responsibility. Done. Okay, we'll do one by one. Now we'll go and create the legal entity. Take the task name as create legal entity. So all the activities, all these tasks we are performing from GL only, right? So go to the same responsibility wherever we created the primary ledger, calendar, currency, everything. General ledger, vision operations USA. We'll be ignoring this, okay, maybe from this session only. So once our responsibility is ready, we can ignore it. Done. Now to create the legal entity, go to the same screen, whatever the function we are using to create the primary ledger. What is the navigation? Setup, financials, over accounting setup manager, accounting setup, financials, accounting setup manager, accounting setups. Okay, take this navigation. See here we have two tabs. Accounting setups. Next tab is legal entities. By selecting legal entities tab, you can create the legal entity. Okay, if not from here, under this tab also you can create it. See here, you may click on create accounting setup. Here also we have the tab, right? Okay, from first tab you can just say create, then it will take you to the legal entity creation page. From there you can create. Otherwise, anyway, we have a separate tab called as legal entity. Okay. You can take the navigation, select tab called as legal entities. Take that navigation, select tab called as legal entities. Okay. Here simple search. If you want to find any existing legal entities, you can search from here. Anyway, we didn't create any legal entities. We'll go and create our legal entity now. Click on create legal entity tab. Okay, click on create legal entity tab. Just click on create legal entity tab. Fine. This is a legal entity creation page. So here territory, nothing but country. For which country you are going to create the legal entity? Select country name, India. Select and tab out. It will fetch because the value will be existed. All the country values also existed in the instance. In every instance, not only in the vision, in all the fresh instance also you can find it. Now you have to write the legal entity name. So I'll write the name as HCL India legal entity. So organization name, the actual registration name. Okay, here legal entity name for our identification purpose. You can go with your own naming convention. Okay, here you can say I'll write it as a HCL India Private Limited. Okay. So legal entity identifier. When you register the company, there will be some registration number, right? Yes. For every registration, the registration number you have to enter. Legal entity identifier is nothing but registration number. Okay, the company registration number. You can enter any number. It will accept, no issues. Enter PAN number, the company PAN number. Okay. Done. So IEC means in case of imports and exports, that number will be company will be having, that you can enter. Okay, here not required. Transaction entity means this is a real legal entity. It's not for dummy purpose or from other purpose. We are not creating. Now this is all about registration information. When you are registering, you will be registering with a specific location, right? So that address we have to provide. Legal address means nothing but registration address. Legal address nothing but registration address. Here we have two options. One is select existing address. The second one is create new address. Okay, we'll see how to create it. Okay, so if you want to select existing one, from here you can select. Okay, so select create new address. Fine, select create new. The format is missing. Okay, no issues, just let's try to understand. Location I'm going to give Hyderabad. Flat number, door number, something, number you can say. A building, just normally when you are creating the real legal entity, will be providing the complete postal address, but here not required. You may proceed with the mandatory fields. City Hyderabad and state and all are not mandatory, just you can provide this information. Okay, location name, the flat number or block number, and town or city or district. Okay, you can just give this information, done. And you may provide detailed information, but not required, just we are going to practice, just we are going to test, so you don't need to provide everything. Here you can, this all the information is optional. See here, general information. Okay, the first section is identification information. This is a legal address. Third section is general information. No field is mandatory here. Okay, but I'm going to select currency, even it is not mandatory. I'll be selecting INR. Done. Okay, in this instance whatever we are using, we have a small issue where the location cannot be created, but when you are practicing in the lab you can do it. Okay, fine, this is how you have to create. You should understand how to create it when you. Okay, now generally what will say apply. When you say apply, the record will be saved, or legal entity will be created. And one point here for your understanding, you are going to practice in the vision instance, right? When you say vision instance, there will be n number of definitions. Before you think like many people already created legal entities with the same similar locations and all. When you are practicing, you may get some error message. Okay, you may get some error message. In that, it will be talking about so and so values are already existed and all. If you get that kind of experience, what you can do is simply change the location name. Given Hyderabad, maybe there may be addresses which are existed almost similar with the same information. In that case, it will give some error message. In that case, you can change this location to maybe for just for testing HCL Hyderabad or HCL India Hyderabad. Change that test. Still, if you are facing some issue, you try to change this identification number or PAN number information. Try to save it; it will be saved. Otherwise, try to change other fields also, but you keep these fields same, because that is a name you'll be finding every time. This is, since it's a vision instance, this kind of behavior you may find, since people are practicing. There are many definitions similar way. So when you are working in real time, there won't be any legal entity. You will be creating the first legal entity. Okay, how many they require, accordingly you will be creating. Don't think this kind of same thing will be repeated when you are working. It should not. Okay, if that is the issue, we'll be contacting Oracle will be supporting us. Okay, that's how things will work. So but when you're practicing, if you have some issue, change the values. Okay, I'm not asking you to change the legal entity or organization name. Change these two fields related. Just if it is not accepting, I may change with something else like this. If it is not accepting with a Hyderabad, I may change to HCL Hyderabad. This is how just change, then it will work. Finally, we have to create our own legal entity. That's what we have to understand. Okay, done. Now we have to click on apply. Let's see, earlier I'm talking about earlier behavior. How today it is behaving, we don't know. Let's see if it is accepting. Okay, or else I'll select existed address. Okay, okay, the package and all. Let's see. All about the same. It's with a location issue only we have. So in that case, select. I'm going to select existing location. Since this is a vision instance, Oracle created addresses for Hyderabad also. Okay, so postal code. Values are there, but sometimes it's not displaying. Let's try. Everything is fine. So these are the addresses. Even if you have some issue in your practice, you can select the same. But when you're working, definitely it will work, no doubt. So I'm just selecting it. Okay, this is the existing address. 4th floor, Block A, Wing 1, High Tech City, Hyderabad. Okay, done. So the rest of information we given here, currency and everything is fine. Then say apply. So system will create the legal entity. It will give the confirmation message also. Yeah, done. Okay, you have successfully created new legal entity called as HCL India legal entity. So fine. Now what is the next step? We have to assign legal entity to primary ledger, to assign balance and segment values to legal entity. Okay. So next task is say assign legal entity to primary ledger. Assign legal entity to primary ledger. So assign LE to primary ledger. So to assign legal entity to primary ledger, first we have to go to primary ledger. Once you go to primary ledger, from there you can assign LE to primary ledger. Okay. So how to go to the how to find the primary ledger? This is a tab, right? Accounting setup. Just select accounting setup tab. Here we have to find our primary ledger. So the primary ledger name HCL India. You don't need to type full name. Just HCL India. Just click on go. It will get displayed. This is our primary ledger which we created. You can see the still the ledger status is in progress. Here you can see that icon purpose. Okay, what it talks about status. Then click on update accounting options. Take all the points. Click on update accounting options. Okay, click on update accounting options. Done. We are in this page. From here you can assign legal entity to primary ledger. See here, this is our primary ledger, right? Okay, this is our primary ledger. This is a complete information related to our primary ledger, right? So these are all system auto created. Automatically system will create when you just create primary ledger. What is the purpose and all will be understanding in further sessions. Okay. So here we have a tab called as add legal entity. Just click on add legal entity. Okay, take as these what exactly we are doing in the sequence. Please make a note so that that will help you for your practice. Click on add legal entity tab. Done. Now we are just navigating to this page. Here also again we have add legal entity tab. Again click on that. Okay, you have to find your primary ledger. You have to click on update accounting options. Then click on add legal entity tab. Again click on add legal entity tab. Now system will ask us which legal entity we want to assign to this primary ledger. Okay, remember one legal entity you can assign to only one primary ledger. One legal entity you can assign to only one primary ledger. Fine. So here name is HCL. Just enough. Enough. You can just click on go because we don't have a number of legal entities which starts with HCL, right? Only one we have. You can give the name as HCL. Then click on go. Okay. Just give the name and click on go. So this is the legal entity we created. Legal entity name is HCL India legal entity. Countries IN. We selected India, right? For India code is IN. So registration number. legal entity identifier we given at the time of legal entity definition. The same you can see. Now select, enable the checkbox, select, then click on select. Follow all the steps. Any confusion, please. Okay, give name, undo, click on go. The legal entity will get displayed. Then say select. So only one legal entity can be assigned to one primary ledger only. Okay, and again I'm telling, based on the experience which we have seen, some people for testing purpose, other legal entity they'll be assigning to their primary ledgers. So we have some issues. People says I created legal entity, I'm not able to find. We identified some other guys who are practicing, they assigned other legal entities also to their primary ledgers. So please don't do that kind of practice. Whatever you create, you assign to your primary ledger only, because there is no option where you can assign and the same guy can assign who create it. Okay, so that practice don't implement. Okay, just click on select, that will get selected. Now click on apply. Finally this legal entity will get assigned to our primary ledger. Okay, click on apply. Now you can see the same legal entity here. If you see one or multiple legal entities, the meaning is these legal entities are assigned to the primary ledger, whatever we see, that's it. Okay, done. We created legal entity, we assign legal entity to primary ledger. What is the next step? Assign balance and segment values to legal entity. Done. To assign the balance and segment values to legal entities, what we have to do is, to which legal entity you want to assign? This legal entity, right? The legal entity level only we have one option called as update balance and segment values. Balance segment values is nothing but company values. In other words, you can say to which segment you assign the balance and segment flexible qualifier, that segment values. Okay, so click on update. And before we do this task, just look at this point. Can we remove the legal entity whatever we assign to primary ledger?
No.
See. Here we have remove legal entity, we have that option. It's enabled mode. If it is grayed out or if that option is not there, we cannot do it. But now we can remove the legal entity. Say by mistake you assigned. You can remove it. Not an issue. Okay, we can do that. That is, just note that point. Anyway, we are going to assign balance and segment values to legal entity. Where we have balance and segment values? I am going to click on this. How I'll get balance segment values which are in this primary ledger? There is some relation we established. We assign this legal entity to this primary ledger, means this legal entity has a connectivity with primary ledger. Within the primary ledger we have a balance segment values. Those you can find from here also, from this record also. Okay, click on update. Take all the points. Click on update. Click on update. I'm just going to repeat it. We are on this page, right? We have a option called as update balance and segment values. So here update is nothing but first time when we are going to assign, that is normally assign. Later any point of time if you want to change, if you want to do some updates, you can do it. That is the reason they given the field name as a update. Otherwise that should be assign, right? Click on update. Here we have a tab called as add balance and segment values. Okay, add balance and segment values. Where we have our balance and segment values? In primary ledger. In primary ledger, in chart of accounts. In chart of accounts under company segment. Exactly in balance value set, right? The same value set they are directly giving. They are giving HCL company. Value set name is HCL company. That's what we give it. That means if you click on add balance and segment values, you will be able to find all the companies which you have in the HCL company value set. That's it. You are going to access those. So here that's what they are giving. Here they are not showing the company name. See, okay, they are showing displaying value set. Done. Then click on add balance and segment values. Now system will ask us which balance and segment values you want to assign to legal entity. Which balance and segment values as per our current discussion? All. We have three. All we want to assign. If you want to assign all, you don't need to search, right? Simply click on go. You don't need to search with a specific name, right? Simply click on go. How many balance and segment values we have within this ledger, all will get displayed. Then you can select three and you can assign that. Okay. Sorry. So click on add balance and segment values. Then click on go. Done. 1000, 2000, 3000. Okay, these three we want to assign to same LE because we don't have three legal entities. We have only one registration. So three we have to assign to same. Now you can select one by one, or else they give an option here function to select all at a time. Just click on select all. All will get selected, or else one by one manually you can select. Click on select. Click on select. Okay, done. Now tell me, can we remove the balance and segment values whatever we assign to legal entity? Yes, here remove option is available, right? Yes. Okay, done. Now say apply. 2 points we discussed. We can remove the legal entity whatever we assign to primary ledger, and we can remove the balance and segment values which are assigned to legal entity. Fine. Not required. Not required. Okay. Just click on apply. Click on apply. Now these will get assigned to legal entity. The same you can see here. It will be updated in this field. Balance and segment values. These three companies we have within this primary ledger. With this option, we assign to legal entity. Done. What is the next step? We have to complete. Done. Now we have three companies. Three companies we are running under which registration also we specified. That's all. That we are no need to give any additional information more than that in this stage. So now you can say complete. Say click on complete. Okay, click on complete. See now what is the message? Read that message. We are able to remove the legal entity and balance and segment values. Once you complete, you cannot do that. The same system will be giving. Apart from that, we have other concept called the reporting currencies. That also you cannot modify. That is the meaning you will be getting. Just go through that message. Okay. So just now we completed primary ledger called as HCL India primary ledger. This will save all your setups whatever you did. Again, it won't allow you to change the deletion of legal entities, balance and segment values, and reporting currency. Reporting currency is a separate concept that we'll discuss when you are working on GL side. Okay, but now you can understand 2 points. You cannot delete legal entities and do balance segment values. Before we complete, we are able to delete, right? We can remove. Already option is available. Now, once you say yes, you confirm it's okay, like okay, no issues, we already given in the proper way, we don't want to delete, you can say yes. Now you don't find those options. Okay, done. Confirmation done. Just we done that. Just click on return to accounting setup. Means we'll go to the home page of this functions accounting setup manager. Now see the status of our ledger. Completed, right? The status indicates completed. If ledger status is completed, then only you can use this ledger for any transaction purpose. To record any transaction, if you have ledger, not enough. The ledger should be with the status called as completed. Okay. Now if you just click on this update, again the ledger will open, and if you just go with this ledger legal entity definition, can you see the tab, the option remove? No, right? Because we completed. And even if you go with this update balance and segment values, here this is grayed out. You cannot remove. But sometimes Your requirement may be 3000 company, the BPO services HCL is closed. In that case, when users are recording the transaction, the value is not required, right? Simply what you can do is you can give the end date. Since you are giving end date, you give some beginning date also. Otherwise, not required. So because I don't need this balance and segment values, maybe after some time, but we don't have any remove option, right? How we can manage by giving the end date. If I give the end date from today, it should not appear. Okay, it will just take the task. Beginning date, any one of the date you can give, before date. Same date also you can give, not an issue. Okay, that's how we can manage since there is no option to remove. Clear, right? Done. And see here, one more option we have, balancing segment values assign balance and segment values to ledger. Okay, you don't try with this option. Okay, so both says like assign balance and segment values only, but whatever we did, we assign balance and segment values to legal entities. Here we have to assign balance and segment values to ledger. If you assign balance and segment values to legal entity, the same value is not available. It won't be available to assign to ledger. Why we have to assign the balance and segment values to legal entity? To represent the company we are running by following which registration. Why we have to assign balance segment values to ledger? This is a different purpose. If they have such kind of requirement where they have some company which really they don't have any registration, means internal purpose. So internal manual reporting purpose, internal purpose, they can create some balance segment values. Those can be assigned to ledger, but reality when they are doing the business as some entity or some company, that in that they should not assign to ledger. Anyway, just you won't find this kind of scenario somewhere. If you come across where they have some balance and segment value where they never record the real business transaction, but that should be there as a part of primary ledger for internal reporting purpose. In that case, that balance and segment value you can assign to ledger. Okay, just as a point I am giving. Why I am telling this point now is you should not touch this. Okay, don't try with this. Okay, but if sometimes after some time you may think about it, that is the reason I'm telling. But generally it's not required, only for internal reporting purpose. Okay, with which company you are not performing the real business transactions, but those companies you can map with the ledger. That's a different story. Forget about it now. Later we'll discuss about it if required. Okay, then our primary ledger is ready to use. Okay, now what is the next step? So we have to create the sorry reporting currency. Who discuss reporting currencies, other currencies? Responsibility. We discussed, right? We discussed on the day detail level. First we'll complete this, then we'll go further, then we'll assign, then we'll create a user, we'll assign responsible user, we'll log in, and we'll do that. Right? Same I'm asking, because if you are preparing, you can answer. Otherwise, you cannot answer anything. Okay, we're done with the primary ledger. Now we have to create the take the task. So create responsibility. Where we can create the primary ledger? Where we can create the primary ledger? Come on, don't come with your own answers. Whatever we are doing, did or discuss, you tell me that. Where we can create the primary ledger? I'm not asking navigation. Where means generally? General ledger application. You take in that way. Okay, where we can create in the sense general ledger application. Now what we have to create? Responsibility. Responsibility you cannot create from general ledger. Okay, for responsibility you have to use the application called as system administrator. Okay, task name is create responsibility. Task name is create responsibility. Responsibility we can create from system administrator. Administration not. Administration application also we have, but we are not talking about that. System administrator. This is the application we have. So from this application we can create the responsibility. Even you can create the users from this responsibility, and you can assign the profile options also. We have to assign primary ledger to responsible, right? That also you can perform from system administrator. Okay, so that you can see from here, right? We have access to all the applications here, right? Not this. Not taking us no issues. In the home page also, when once you log in, you can see all those, right? In responsible level, you can see under user, you can see all the listed responsibilities, right? So the same responsibilities you can see from here also. This user has access to a number of responsibilities, right? So if you want to see all the responsibilities, one way is through application. You can see that is, I think the form is somewhere hidden, it's not showing. Once again we'll do it. Why it is missing? Operations, you are fine. So here you can see all the responsibilities, right? You can see all the responsibilities. Here you can see the responsibility called as system administrator. Okay, from this after login, okay, you can select any responsibility from here. Otherwise, if you want to work on any application the application related responsibility we are opening, we are doing the setups and we are doing whatever we discussed. But if you want to work on this application, from here you can open. Otherwise, when you are in the general ledger responsibility, from that responsibility you can move to system administrator responsibility in the form based environment. We can do that. Okay, so from here you can see the responsibility, right? System administrator. Actual application name is system administrator. The responsibility name also they created as a system administrator. Now application, with the application name only they created responsibility. Now you have a application called a general ledger. You can create the responsibility also just with the same name. System won't stop you. Just it's all about how you want to see the name. That's all. So now anyway, normally just we'll get into the application with the general ledger, or else directly you can click on that system administrator. Within that you can find the sub menus. You can click on any one of the function. It will open the system administrator responsibility. But we know this usage of accessing GL related responsibility. From here we'll switch. Okay, so just I'm opening the same. Now we are in the general ledger responsibility. This is a form based environment. Okay, now one option, if I go here, okay, if I go here, from here I can select system administrator, right? But I don't want to come back to this page to select the system administrator. We are in this navigator, general ledger vision operations. From here I want to move to system administrator responsibility, which is created against system administrator application. Okay, I want to go there. For that what we can do is, here we have a navigation. Take the navigation, file, switch responsibility, file, switch responsibility. Okay, file, switch responsibility, file, switch responsibility. If you click on that, you can see all the responsibilities in this list, which you can see from here. The same we are finding in the form. Here we have all we have in the web page. Okay, same you can find in the form. That's it. You can select which responsibility require. Which responsibility require? System administrator. Type yes, it will filter all the responsibilities which starts with yes. Now the last one you can select, you can move to that responsibility. This is the one option we have. If you don't want to go with this navigation process, they given simple shortcut also. Here they given the cap icon, which we call as switch responsibility. Okay, when you are in the general ledger or any responsibility, if you want to go to other responsibility, to which response this user has access within that. Okay, so if you want to move to another responsibility where this user got access to that responsibility, simply you can click on switch responsibility icon, cap icon. Here you can see the same. You can go to file and you can select switch responsibility, it will open the same, or else directly you can click on switch responsibility, same will open. Okay, now just type yes. You want to switch to system administrator responsibility. Okay, select system administrator, then say okay. Take all the points. If you are understanding that is not enough, take all the points so that you can practice. Okay, just click on switch responsibility icon. It will list out all the responsibilities for which responsibilities this user has access. Okay, so select responsibility, then say okay. Fine, then say okay. Now we'll completely will move from general ledger to system administrator responsibility. Done. Now we are in the system administrator responsibility. Why we came here? What assign and all? To create responsibility, right? We are here to create the responsibility. Take the task name as create responsibility. Task name is create responsibility, and take the navigation. Navigation is security responsibility define. Okay, security responsibility define. Security responsibility define. Just double click, it will open the responsibility creation form. So what are the responsibility we used as a general ledger, vision operations USA, or what are the responsibility, in which responsibility we are in now? System administrator responsibility, all are created from this form only. All are created. You can, if you want to find, you can find the same responsibility whatever you used as a for general ledger access. Okay, now anyway we'll see, we'll create our own responsibility, we'll understand. Okay, now let's target to understand how to create. Okay, what we are selecting within that I'll be explaining later detail level. When you see that when you are accessing that, when you are seeing the benefit out of that, the responsibility what we are creating. But high level I'll touch those points, but the detail level we'll discuss later. We'll be creating our own certain response related things, menus, request groups. At that time I'll explain you. Okay, but now let's see how to create the responsibility. Okay, we want to create responsibility for HCL, right? For let's create for general ledger. So I'll give the name as HCL general ledger responsible, right? Now what I want to do is, what are the features we have for general ledger? All features I want to allow this responsibility to access. Means I want to give the access to someone who can access to all the features through this responsibility which are related to GL. In that case, which menu we have to assign? Main menu, right? Main menu will be having everything. So when we assign the main menu for any responsibility, that responsibility you can call as manager responsibility or super user responsibility. When you see any responsible name as a manager, that means think the responsibility have access to almost all features of the respective application. If you see any responsible name like super user means nothing but manager. Okay, that means that responsible will be having more or less access to all the features related to that application. Okay, so we want to create this responsibility against which application? General ledger. That is the reason we are calling as HCL general ledger. For which company? HCL. So now we'll give complete access to general ledger. So you should suffix as manager or super user. I'll write the name in this way. HCL general ledger super user. If you have business in multiple countries, you may just include the country name also within this. If you write HCL general ledger super user for India, US, UK, etc., etc., all the companies will be having HCL general ledger super users, right? How to identify? You can just include the name also, HCL India general ledger, but when you are practicing, that is not required. Okay, normally you just give this naming convention, that would be enough. When you are working in real time, when you are creating the multi-year, what exact naming convention you have to follow and what is really followed also, few I'll be showing you. Okay, so done. Now we are creating this responsibility against which application? General ledger. We are creating this responsibility against general ledger. To access general ledger application we are creating, right? Without responsibility we cannot access. So here select application as a general ledger. Type a general ledger and tab out, it will fetch. Sorry, written wrong. Type partial name and tab out, it will fetch. Please take all the points. Responsibility key, nothing but short name for this responsibility. Okay, this can be used for technical purpose and all. Okay, when they are doing some technical work, if required, that this is the ID, they'll be key, they'll be using short name. I'll give HCL. Since it's a key short name, I'll just keep underscore instead of giving space. I'll say GL, HCL underscore GL. Done. Now data group. Select data group as a standard. We'll discuss detail level. What is the data group? Why we have to select? If you don't select, what happens? Everything we'll discuss. But the first phase, we'll try to understand how to create. Then slowly we'll be getting the meaning why we are creating like that. Okay, everything we'll understand. But for now, you just try to understand how to create, how to create it by giving which information. That's it. Why we have to give that information? What is the reason behind it? Everything will be discussing. Okay, data group is standard. Application general ledger. The menu already discussed, right? Menu consists of submenus and functions. So for every application, Oracle is providing one menu. Every application, Oracle is providing the menu. So whatever Oracle provides, those menus we call as seeded menus. That means they'll group all the features of particular application. For each application, they are creating the menus. So that menu we call as seeded menu. For general ledger application, Oracle is giving the seeded menu called as GL super user underscore super user. This is the menu name you have to select. Take this menu name and remember it. You should remember. Okay. If somebody will ask you what is the menu for GL, you should say GL super user, not GL underscore super user. Okay, say GL super user. Underscore and all they given, since that is a very important definition, so there should not be any space. That's the reason they given that. But it's not mandatory there should be space. But whatever Oracle created, we have to follow. Whatever we are creating in that case, but it's recommended by Oracle. But if you want to take risk, you can proceed without space. And here we have to select the request group. Is it mandatory?
No.
How can you say?
White.
Field is in white color. Fine. We don't need to ask anyone, right? GL concurrent program group. This is what we have to select. Why we have to select only this? What is there inside? We'll discuss everything. Okay. That's all. If I ask you the question how to create the primary ledger, what is your answer? Simple answer. How to create the primary ledger? This is my question. What is your answer? By using the 4 C's, we can create the primary ledger. Can you explain how to create in the system? Then, huh? No, when you say how to create, simply just understand you are on the same page. You have to say, no setup, no, I'm not asking navigation, right? If I ask you what is the navigation to create the primary ledger, that's what you have to explain. If I ask you the question, how to create the primary ledger means forget about application, forget about navigation. You have to focus on form is ready, open. You have to start working on it. What you have to explain? Question is how to create primary ledger. Your answer should be try to understand why I'm telling this point. In the same practice, you have to apply for everything. If there is question called how to create primary ledger, you have to answer. First, we'll give the primary ledger name, then we will chart of accounts. Huh? Then we have to select the chart of account. That's what I am just, the terms very important. Then chart of account means what? Okay. So first we'll give the primary ledger name, then we'll select the chart of accounts, calendar, currency and accounting method, and we'll provide the retained earnings account also. This is how we'll create the primary ledger. This is how you have to answer. Now if I ask you the question how to create responsibility, you no need to explain in detail level. If there is some question, always just in very high level explain it. Still if they are going to just come up with some cross question, could you please explain detail level, then only go with detail. Otherwise you don't need to go in very detail level. If I ask you how to create responsible, my answer would be we have to select, by selecting the data group, menu, request group, you can create the responsibility. This would be my answer. Could you please explain how to create detail level? Then have to start with, we have to give the responsibility name, and we have to select the application, we have to provide the responsibility key, then data group we have to select as a standard. Okay, if you are creating responsibility for general ledger data, for that application you have to select general ledger along with the data group, and for general ledger responsibility you have to select the menu called as GL super user, and request group you have to select as GL content program group. This is how you have to explain. Just be ready with these two answers for anything. Okay, don't ready with a very detailed level answer, not required. Okay, that means if you say very high level, the exact core points you are including, then you are answering means you have command on that. That's how people will understand. Okay, so how to create a primary ledger using the forces? Can you please explain? Yes, first we'll give that, we'll provide the primary ledger name, then we'll give the select the calendar, chart of accounts, accounting method and currency, then we'll provide the returned earnings. You don't need to say click here, click there, close it, open that, not required. That literally we have to do when we are doing in the system. That is the reason I am explaining in that way, where you can take the points, you can follow, but the way you do, the way you explain should be totally different. Again, when you are explaining something, there should be very summarized way and detailed way, and sometimes the third way also would be there. Somebody may ask you, could you please explain very detailed level more? You see, you said how to create primary ledger by selecting forces. Could you please elaborate it? Okay, we'll give the name, we'll select, we'll give the prime, what I can say, returned earnings account. Then the guy may ask you, no, I'm not getting it, just go very detail level. Then you may just add few more points which will gives the detailed explanation of the thing. I can explain if somebody is going to ask. See, we can create the primary ledger in function setup manager. In function setup manager, okay, you have to select the tab called as, what is the tab? Set accounting setup, create accounting setup. You have to click on that, then click on next, then give the name. Okay, then give the name and select calendar, currency, chart of accounting method. Then system will ask for the confirmation. Okay, you can confirm it, you can finish the definition, then you can go to the accounting options. There you have to provide the return earnings account. Okay, before you do that, you have to make sure that allow dynamic inserts are enabled, otherwise you cannot select that code combination, you cannot create, I can tell. Okay, this is how. And even you should be ready with very good information to talk about more about the primary ledger. Okay, but I am not telling you how to create primary ledger means you have to explain too much, but you should be ready with that much content also, I'm trying to say. How to create means general, as per question the answer should be form is open, you have to explain, that's it, very brief level. or else little bit detail, or else by covering the points which you click, which you open something else, if they're expecting in that way to understand your level of knowledge or level of explanation. To test you, all these will be facing some questions. For that also you have to be ready. Okay. The same way, if I ask you the question, what is the use of primary ledger, what would be your answer? Simple question. What is use of primary ledger? Everybody will be having different answers, but the matching answers are very few. Those only they require. Tell me your own answers. To record the transactions. Okay, that is his answer. Any other answers? I'm not telling wrong. My question is very short. His answer also very short. Not an issue. You tell me your answer. What do you mean by what is use of primary ledger? To create a transaction by using the process. Sorry? I am not asking how to create. I am asking what is the use of primary ledger. The way how you explain, that's really important. He just closed. Think if he is sitting in the interview seat, he'll be getting more questions. He given very short answer, right? Then he'll be getting good chance of getting many questions. He has to face many questions. You have to manipulate by explaining more detail level. For that you should know before that. That is for sure. If you are answering, if they set time for 1 hour or half an hour, what is the use of primary ledger? If you are talking more, you are not going to give the chance to ask many questions. That's a very important technique which you have to follow. There will be, of course, we'll be trying to act as very intelligent, but they'll be smarter than us. They'll be asking, boss, stop. I'm not asking that much. Cool. Stop. Enough. I got the point. They'll be telling. If you ask me the same question, I can come up with some attitude saying very detailed level. You can ask me the question saying that, okay, what is use of primary ledger? I can say, see, the primary ledger we can use to record the business transaction. It can be general ledger, accounts payables, account receivables, or any application. In any application, if you want to record the transaction, primary ledger is very important. If you create the primary ledger with 3 C's, you can use within only GL. If you create the primary ledger with the 4 C's, we can record the transactions in subledger applications also. Okay, subledger application. When you create the primary ledger, we have to make sure that you completed the definition. Otherwise, you cannot use the primary ledger anywhere. And when you are creating the calendar also, you have to take into many considerations. Based on that, you have to create your calendar. For that, you have to create the period type. He is not asking, but I am answering. You'll be cool because I'm talking about facts. Okay, so that's how, like, okay, then we'll create calendar. After that, we'll create the chart of accounts. We can create 30 segments, but minimum should be 2. Those are balancing and natural account segments. We'll assign the respective qualifiers. We'll create the value sets. We'll create the segment values. We'll compile and we'll freeze. Then what are the currency we require? We'll go and enable. Then we'll be selecting the accounting method as a standard accrual. Again, if not that, something else that we'll be discussing. Then this is how we'll be creating the primary ledger. After creating primary ledger, see, just if you create primary ledger, you cannot go ahead with that. You will definitely be having some registration. You can just create the legal entities, and accordingly you can assign. We have to assign the balance segment values to legal entities. That is not possible directly. You have to assign legal entities to primary ledger. Then you can assign the balance and segment values to legal entities. Then you can complete your definition. Once you're done with that, you can create the rest. I'll be speaking because I know that only. if they ask you some question, I cannot answer. Think like that. If you are answering, see, question is same. He given answer, I given answer. I am not telling negative. Just for your information, I am telling how you have to manage the things. You know this stuff, right? You have to utilize how to utilize. But there will be many interviews. They'll be stopping there and, boss, I think you didn't understand my question. I'm sorry. Okay, I got your question. To record the transaction, we can use it. Thanks. Over. But you should not leave your attitude. Second question also start in that way on. Okay. So you should, for that you should have a good information. You should have a confidence on the stuff what you are speaking. You should be able to explain in the flow. If you are thinking, you ask a question, you ask a question, what short answer I have to give? If you are struggling for that, what long answers you can explain? Nothing. So that's very important. That is the reason I am asking. Just retake all the points, read your note, understand in which sequence we are doing, sit and have a discussion with others, and give the presentations. These all repeat, do practice. These all do multiple times. Of course, taking the note you cannot do multiple times. Apart from that, the reading note you can do multiple times. Having discussions you can do, presentations you can do multiple times. Practice for sure you should do multiple times. Each time you do practice, the system will be more, will be getting into the system. You'll get more confidence in the system process, how system will behave, or why the field if you select it is enabling, it is disabling, etc., etc. Whatever we are doing, you more this understanding will be getting. So that is the reason. Just try to focus on all these points. That's very, very important. Some people says they'll go for interview and they'll be saying, I answered all the questions. Nonsense. What way you answered? That is a very bad way, wrong way. You answered to all questions, but you won't get selected. Reason you feel you answered, but they'll see your experience. What nonsense? What? I asked the question with the 3 words. He answered with 1 word. What is the respect he is giving to my question? Right? You have to respect them by answering more and more. If they are not able to take your respect, they'll stop you, no problem. Okay, so you always should have a good content to answer so that you can reduce the questions. Okay, you can manipulate, okay, with your answers. Then they'll be, oh, this guy, just if you touch, he'll be speaking like anything. Enough. This attitude we need. These people can manage my client also. He's able to manage us means he's able to manage everyone, no problem. Okay, he didn't answer 4 or 5 questions, no issues. He has the such kind of attitude where he will start playing. That's it. So that's how we can build some confidence when you attend the interview. That's how they'll be considering these points, they'll be taking into consideration. So you have to be okay with the subject. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, we'll continue from here. Okay, we create a responsibility. Okay, we're done with the responsibility creation. Save it. So here, simple point, you can consider 3 components. Okay, when you create the primary ledger, we have 4 components: calendar, currency, chart of accounts, and accounting method. The same way, just for simple understanding, here when you are creating responsibility, primarily we have a data group, menu, and request group. What is the purpose and all we'll be discussing. Once we create the transaction in the system, I'll explain. Once again, we'll come back to this and I'll explain you. Okay, done. Created. So once you create, in every form certain fields will be freezed where you cannot do changes. Which fields are open, those you can edit. If you want to change the menu, you can change. If you want to change the data group, you can change. And if you want to change the request group, you can change. Normally we don't need to change anything because how we require, accordingly we create it. So data group will be same for any responsibility, any application. Remember, data group is same. If you are creating responsibility for payables, standard only. Receivable, standard. For every application, data group it would be standard. Why data group will be standard, what exactly this, what is there inside, how it is related to responsibility, will be discussing. And this menu, depending on application, if you are creating responsibility for payables related menu will be using. If you are creating responsibility for receivables menu, because the menu will consist of specific application related features, so we have to select accordingly. Even request group also will be specific to application, but menu is same. Sorry, data group would be same. Out of these 3, how many are mandatory? No, how many means you tell in the number. Don't say what are those. 3. Where you are seeing? Same screen, right? 5. What is that? 3 only we have. How 5 will become mandatory? 2 only, right? Data group, and don't count the fields. I am telling 3 components. You treat in that way. I said, and I am asking the question. Data group and menu are mandatory. Request group is optional. By removing also, I can create the responsibility. Saved. You will accept. Right? Field is optional means you can create. You can proceed. You can save the record. Anyway, I am adding. We'll discuss about it. Clear, right? Then we create a responsibility. We'll close it. Just anyway, responsibility is ready. Now, what is the next task? Okay, we created a responsibility. Now, next task. Assign. Wrong answer. I am explaining before we start with the system only. These points we discussed maybe 3-4 days back, right? Theoretically, literally I explained detail level, but still you are assigning responsibility somewhere. I taken the example. Please stick the paper to wall, not wall to paper. Right? Same I am asking here. Now what we have to do? Others what? They are listeners or what? Others I am requesting what? Nobody is speaking. Now what we have to do next step? So let me ask one by one. What we have to do next step? Sorry? PL to responsibility, I have to what? Give me exact statement. No, please. What exact statement? Primary ledger to responsibility is what is that? The primary ledger to responsibility. What you are telling? Next one, please. Assign primary ledger to responsibility. Otherwise, the wrong answer I will take in that. Assign primary ledger to responsibility. Assign primary ledger to responsibility. Okay, assign primary ledger to responsibility. Okay, this video also I'll be uploading today, but I think 1 or 2 sessions I didn't upload earlier, but anyway you attended, no issue, right? You can run through all the sessions to understand from right from beginning. I think 2 sessions are missing, we didn't record, so no issues, for that you have note. Okay, done. Assign primary ledger to responsibility. We know to which responsibility and which primary ledger, right? Already we created, so we know that. I am not writing the same. This task also, assigning primary ledger to responsibility, this task also we can do from system administrator only. You don't need to take again application name as system administrator. Generally you have to take if you are going to do the task from different application. Now you don't need to take it. So we never assign responsibility to primary ledger. Always we assign primary ledger to responsibility. Done. Why we have to assign that also we discussed already. Same point. Okay, done. Now take the navigation. Navigation is profile system. Here navigation from system administrator, navigation is profile system. Okay, profile system. Double click. Okay, now we want to assign the primary ledger to responsibility, right? To which responsibility? Tell me exact name. Which responsibility? You are telling application name. HCL, general ledger, super user responsibility, right? So do you find any field for responsibility in this form? No. Here we have a field called as responsibility. Here you select your responsibility. Means to which responsibility you want to assign your primary ledger, you have to specify that, right? For that reason, to which responsibility you want to assign your primary ledger, select that responsibility here. HCL, type HCL, tab out. If there are no responsibility which starts with HCL, it will fetch directly. Select. Then it is selected, automatically it will enable also. It will enable the checkbox. You don't need to enable and you don't need to select not required. Directly select responsibility. If the same name record is exist, it will fetch and it will enable the responsibility. We'll understand these points in upcoming sessions, but now you don't need to focus. Don't see other than responsibility field in this. Not required. Okay, go to responsibility field and select your responsibility. Okay, we want to assign our primary ledger to this responsibility. That is the reason we selected this. How to assign primary ledger to responsibility? By using profile option. Which profile option? General ledger. GL ledger name. Please don't call it as general ledger. Okay, GL. When you say profile option, the names are fixed. If you go and say somewhere general ledger name, general ledger name means, oh, it's a new profile option, they may ask you. Okay, nobody call it, nobody just use this term. So you should call it as GL ledger name profile option. We know very well GL stands for general ledger. That you have to call with application only, but not with the profile option name. How their given oracle, the same we have to follow. Okay, done. So by using the profile option called as GL ledger name, with which profile option you can assign the primary ledger to responsibility, that profile option you can give here. See, you can select from LOV, right? You know that. You can select LOV. Generally, if you have field called as LOV, what happens? If you type something, if I tab out, what happens? No. If exist, fetches. If not exist, it will list out. From list only you have to take it, right? If there is some LOV, always you should select from existing values only. But few fields will be dynamic fields. Those will have two functions. It will allow you to enter some text dynamically, and it will allow you to select the existed values. This field is similar to that. See here, I am typing some, I don't know what I typed. I'll tab out, it is accepting. So for that reason here, if you want to select from LOV, you can go and select from LOV, GL ledger name profile option. But if you know, if you are very sure about the name, you can type exactly here. Okay. Some fields will have two functions. It will allow dynamic test and predefined test, predefined values. Okay, here I'll write the name as GL ledger name. Write properly in the same way. Then if you click on find, you can go to the page where you can assign the primary ledger to responsibility with the help of this profile option name. That's it. We'll repeat this step. You don't worry about the navigation and what we are doing. Try to understand. That is very important. So to which responsibility we want to assign, we selected the responsibility. With which profile option we can assign, the profile option we selected. Which primary ledger we want to assign, that will be selected. Then automatically the primary ledger will get assigned to this responsibility with the help of this profile option. Now after selecting responsibility and profile option, click on find. Now we'll be landing in this form. Fine. Do you find our responsibility here?
Yes.
Yes, right? Where?
Responsibility.
Here under responsibility field, you can find our responsibility. Okay, done. To our responsibility, what we want to assign? Primary ledger. See, if few people are not opening their mouth, your learning also will be similar way. Please, I don't know what are the good reasons, but if you are doing this kind of functional course, you should be ready to speak at least wrong statements. At least you should be ready to give wrong statements first. You should take initiative to speak. Otherwise, you can take your own decision. Or else you can continue. We don't stop anyone. But one thing for sure, if you are not okay with the communication, okay, please don't continue. By mistake, if somebody is here who paid the fee, you can take refund. We'll give refund. Maybe applicable within this week. After 1 week, if you realize I am not okay with the communication, we cannot realize from our side to give the refunds and all. So within 1 week, you can take the refund. If you are not okay with English, please, we are ready to refund your fees, because if you are not okay with English, you are not going to get anything. You are going to lose 10,000, etc., etc., etc. Okay, that's it. Please take it very serious way. Don't feel you know English if you don't know. Okay, done. So this is the response. To this responsibility, we have to assign the primary ledger, right?
Yes.
So here we can select our primary ledger. Here we got a field where we can select primary ledger, HCL. It is coming. How it is coming? Because of profile option. This profile option only opening this field, and this profile option only getting our primary ledger name in that list. That is the reason we say with the help of GL ledger name profile option, we can assign the primary ledger to responsibility. If this profile option is not here, if you don't select and if you don't come here the field will be grayed out. Even when it is open, you don't find primary ledger names in that list. That is the point. Okay. If you select your primary ledger under your responsibility, that is nothing but we assigned our primary ledger to responsibility. This only we call as assigning primary ledger to responsibility. Now we assign, right? Again, I will do that. Okay. So now what we are going to do? I think already you taken. You don't need to take again. So we have to assign primary ledger to responsibility. For that, navigation is profile, system, and to which responsibility you want to assign, select that responsibility. Name is HCL, tab out, it will fetch that profile responsible name. And by using which profile option you can assign? If you know, type exactly, otherwise better you can go with LOV. Okay, GL ledger name. Click on find. The responsible name is, sorry, this is the responsibility. To this responsibility, which primary ledger you have to assign? HCL India primary ledger. Assign. Don't forget to save it. Control S. Save it. So if you don't mind, I have one question. Who are answering to my questions? When I'm just taking the session, I'm asking few questions, right? Who are answering for that, please? More or less, at least sometimes, with your grace, some grace. Okay, you are not answering. You are not answering. Okay, fine. Okay, anyway, thanks for the guys who are answering. Please, others also, please start with the same process. I'm requesting. That is required for this kind of courses. Okay, done. Okay, we assigned. Now you can close it. Now what is the next step? Already discussed everything, the process, what we have to follow. What is the next step? Tell me as a statement. Don't throw one word. User, you have to delete the user or what? Tell me that, please. We have to create the user. How to assign without user? We discussed, right? See, I explained you for this purpose only. You'll be answering for my questions. Other side, the primary point is you'll be knowing what we are doing. If you know that sequence, learning will be really easy. That's the reason before doing in the system, I explained the process also. Fine. Anyway, navigation you taken, I'm not writing here. So now task is say create user. Create user. Okay, create user. Take the navigation. User also we can create from sysadmin only. System administrator simply you can call as sysadmin. You can use the term. Okay, from here only you no need to take the application as sysadmin or system administrator. Task name is create user navigation. Take the navigation. Security. See, when I am doing some new task, which we didn't discuss in the class, I won't expect any support from you guys. If I could see few people are supporting me with the navigation or something else, I don't need that support. I'll be expecting only answers for my questions, or else if something is already completed, I'll be expecting you'll be answering for the same. But whatever I'm doing as a first time in our class, I don't expect from someone they'll be helping me. If I say security response, they'll be telling define. I don't know whether that is define or something else. They know, but I don't expect. They may be from different batches, or else they might have done the course already, etc., etc. Because that will disturb other people interest or confidence. That is the reason I don't accept that kind of statements in the class. You answer whatever we completed. I'm very happy. Okay, that's how we'll go ahead. But you don't speak it out, which we didn't complete in the class when I'm doing. Okay, I'm not telling somebody did or doing. I'm just giving some points for your notice. That's all. Okay, done. Find security. Navigation is security user define. This is the navigation. I'll write here. Security user define. Okay, with this navigation, what we can do? We can create the user. Okay, security user define. Double click, the form will open. It's a very simple definition. See, every time here we are discussing create and create, right? Create user, create response. Use some other term called as define. Okay, somebody is going to ask you, tell me this process. Okay, it should not be to create responsibility. Will create the primary ledger. Will create the responsibility. Create the user. Okay, don't go with the same term. Try to take the different term. Okay, say you can say to create the responsibility. Then we have to define the responsibility. Something else. We'll be discussing other terms also based on what we do. But don't go with the same term like copy paste and something like that. Okay. I'll be including in further sessions that statements also will do in that way. Okay, done. So you can give the username here. Let's go with the same username HCL. Give username and tab out. Now you have to enter the password. When you enter password, generally when you create the Gmail account or any other account, username will enter the password. We have to re-enter the password, right? There will be two fields for password: enter password and re-enter or confirm. The same way, that logic they given within the same field. Field is one, but logic will cover two actions. Enter password and confirm password also we have within that only. So now I am going to give the password as Oracle. I given password as Oracle. I'll tab out. Once I tab out, it will take, and again the cursor will be landing in the same field. That means we have to again enter the password to confirm. That is the meaning of that. Don't think I given it is taken and again it is asking something else. Okay, fine. The people sometime I heard we have to enter password two times. That's what they're talking. Two times, yes, correct, but there is a meaning in that. We are confirming. You try a second time with the wrong password, it will tell you what you did. Okay, tab out. Still, it will be there only. Field will be mandatory. Again, I am entering Oracle. Then tab out. It will accept. The field will become optional also. See, done. Now you save it. So, what is the status of the user? Nothing. Save it. It will be active. Now user is ready to use. Okay. Why we are creating user? To access to the our instance. Okay, to give the access to responsibilities, we have to assign the responsibility to user. Now next task is take the point, assign responsibility to user. The next task is we created user is ready. There are a few more points that we'll be discussing detail level. Okay, for now just those are not required. We created user. Okay, assign responsibility to user. How to assign responsibility to user? Very simple. Here we have field called as responsibility field. Select your responsibility in this field. That is nothing but you are assigning responsibility to user. So what is your responsible name? HCL. Tab out, it will fetch. Then you assigned HCL general ledger super user responsibility to HCL user. That save it. Over. Now our user is ready. So if you want to create new responsibility, and if you want to create the new user, and if you want to assign the profile options, which responsibility we need? Don't you understand and tell me. My question is to create responsibilities and to create the user and to assign the profile options, which responsibility we require? System administrator. We are in the same and we are doing the same. I am asking the same. Okay, system administrator, right? So in further discussion also we may need access to system administrator. Let's assign system administrator responsibility also to this user, so that for system administrator responsibility purpose you don't need to go to operations every time. Okay, along with our responsibility we'll assign another responsibility called as system administrator. This is given by Oracle. The system administrator responsibility will be in the Vision instance as well as Fresh instance also. Don't think system administrator responsibility will be only in the Vision. It will be there in the Fresh. But in the Vision instance only you can see General Ledger, Vision Operations USA. In the Fresh environment you don't see. Instance you can call as environment also. Okay, remember these points. Clear, right? That. Now we'll assign that also, so that you don't need to go to other user. You don't need to depend on other user when you need access to system administrator responsibility to create new responsibilities or new users or new responsibility assignments to users or setting up profile options, etc. You don't need to go to other user. Okay, just select here. What is the response name? System administrator. Just type full name. It will be easy. If you type partial name, there will be big list. It will be big task for you to go and search. Type full name. Done. Please take all the points. Along with our responsibility, we are assigning system administrator responsibility. This is given by Oracle only, that we call as seeded responsibility. Whatever Oracle provides, that we call as seeded responsibility. What are the responsibility we create, we can call it as custom responsibility. Make a note. Whatever we create, we can call as custom responsibility. The reality, that is the meaning what we create, but generally we don't call it as custom responsibility. Custom responsibility, we call with the name only, but just for your understanding I'm telling, we can call it as custom responsibility, but we don't take that term into usage much. Okay, but remember, if somebody is going to refer the term, you have to understand, oh, that's what they created something, that's what you have to understand. You should not find it something else, it will be in the different color. Okay, so that's the reason custom is nothing but whatever we create, that's all. Done. Which is not there in the system, which is created by us, that we call as custom. But when you record the transaction, you don't call it a custom transaction. Okay, that is business related. Other than that, whatever you create, those we will discuss detail level. But for now, simple point is we created our own means that you can call it custom responsibility, that we assign to our user. Along with that, we assign one more user responsibility called as system administrator. Once we assign this system administrator, automatically system will assign one more responsibility. Okay, it's not reflecting, it will come later. Okay, it will be indirect response that you can see from front end also. Okay, then you can close it. Now we can exit from the current user. We are using operations, right? We are depending on operations user. Okay, we'll exit and we'll log into the system with our user. When you log into the user, how many responsibilities you can see? How many you assign, those many you can see. How many we can see? 2, since we assigned. If something else system is displaying, we will discuss why it is coming. Okay, username is HCL, password is Oracle, because these password and all will be set by us consultants or some DBA when we are working. But when we are doing the implementation, we'll have a complete access. But login in the sense that is a user who is going to use the application. In that point of view, once the user will log in first time, it will be asking the user to reset the password. Okay, so just give the username and password, then click on login. What's wrong? Oracle. Maybe I give an uppercase. 1 second. Yeah, I given uppercase. Password I given all caps. What is our current password? Oracle. I'm giving new password. Welcome. So submit. How many responsibility we assigned? 2, right? See, HCL general ledger super user and system administrator. What system will do is, if you assign system administrator responsibility to any user, automatically system will add application diagnostics. What is the meaning of diagnostics? This is well-known term and everybody used to. Health check. The diagnostics means health check. Here, to check the application health, that application can be used. Okay. For people health, we have diagnostic centers, right? The same way within our application, to check payables is not behaving properly, we'll take to application diagnostics. There we can test what is the health issue we have. We can identify based on that. If you go to diagnosis center, you will get report, right? The same way, this report we can get. Okay, got the report. Then what next step? You'll start. No, right? You will be submitted to doctor. Doctor will treat, right? The same way here, we'll be submitting this to Oracle. Oracle is the big doctor for this product, right? They built it. So that is the purpose. We'll discuss about this detail and we'll be using, I'll show you when we talk about real-time classes. Okay, at the time I'll show you if something is not working in so-and-so application, how to go to this application diagnostics, how to use it, etc. How to generate the report to submit to Oracle, we'll be discussing. Okay, for now you don't need to understand. Okay, now you can just go to general ledger application, responsibility, select it and expand. Done. Now completely we have our own user, own responsibility. Okay, so everything we are in our own environment. Now what we have to do is, if you want to record any transactions, what are the transactions we record in this general ledger application? The term we use as a journals. Okay, we'll discuss in, maybe it's already 12 o'clock. Okay, we'll discuss in tomorrow session. Okay, tomorrow session we'll discuss about what is journal, how journal can be created, what is the journal process. Okay, what is the journal process to, if you want to create journals. Okay, before that what we have to do in the this within the responsibility. And then when we are creating responsibility, we select a data group, menu, request group. We'll try to understand detail level what exactly, because once you create one journal and do complete the process, then we'll understand certain points. Once you are ready with those points, if I explain what is a exactly why you are creating responsibility, those three components, data group, request group, and menu, why we are giving, how these three got relation, why data group and menu is mandatory, why request group is not mandatory, in which scenario that is also mandatory. These things we'll discuss detail level. Once that is done, we'll go with the actual real process. When we are working in any company, how will be doing, we'll go ahead with that. We'll complete all the modules, financial modules. After completing, we'll start with real-time classes, etc. We'll do everything. Okay, but only the thing is, it should not be pending from your side. Okay, so I can complete, I'll be completing, no doubt of that, but you should complete from your end. If you are happy by attending the classes, not at all enough. Nobody will be happy with your knowledge. If you're happy with just classes without preparing, spend more time. How many people were in the institute yesterday afternoon? I can see they have a real interest, and other people may have some good reasons, but I'm not talking about it. How many people were in the institute from your batch yesterday after 2 o'clock? You are here. Okay, great. Others, anybody got offer or what? Please don't mind. I'm just taking the serious way. How many people are working? The rest of all can be in the institute from morning to evening, right? Really, if you want to get job on based on this course, you have to sit in the institute only. If you go to office, what are the timings you follow? You ask otherwise who are working 8 to 6 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 7. Some people, they don't have timings, they have to sit there only. You sit in the institute. Of course, we don't pay, but you will get paid a good salary within a couple of months. Sit in the office. Okay, sit in this institute. I mean to say, office in the sense institute. Come here sharp 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Leave by 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Nothing will happen. You will be good enough with the subject knowledge where you can go and crack interview, you can get the job. No doubt, with confidence you can work. If not one company, other company, not another company. That's it. If not India, other country. That's it. If you are doing the preparation very weak and poor preparation, always you are in the risk. That's up to you. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll discuss from here whatever left to understand about this part. Okay, fine then. But again, I'm requesting, please spend time in the institute. Okay, don't plan I'll go to room or home. We three are there, two are there. We'll just play with this whatever we completed. It won't work. Reality. I request you, even you may have system in your home or room, but I request you, one time you just do practice in the institute, so that when you're practicing, if you get some issues, people will be there from your batch, or else we'll be here. I'll be here from morning to evening. Okay, I'll be helping. Otherwise, the guy Bala is here. He'll be helping. Otherwise, if you really need some support where you didn't do anything for till now, we'll assign one person who will be sitting with you to help you in all the ways, right from the system, whatever we did. Or else, if you need some presentation, if you say you missed the P2P or O2C, etc., what we discussed, we'll get one person from previous batches. We'll give you the detailed presentation. If that is, you are not happy, we'll assign another person. If you are not happy, I'll take the class. Okay, we are open for that. We are open for that. Okay, what is the purpose you are here? You have to understand. I understand what is the purpose I am here. So on that base I am doing. You should understand the purpose. Based on that you have to act. Then we can get the better result. Otherwise, you can say after some time, even I also read the course in so place and so year. That will be become record. That's it. You won't be working Oracle aside. Okay. So there are many people in that way. That is the reason I'm telling you, don't get into fall into that kind of classification of learning or experience and all. If you are doing this course, you should get job. So with that target, do that course. If you want to get job, you have to do certain things. What you have to do, I'm telling. Something else, if you know that also, please follow and be okay with the subject. That's very important. And I request you, when I'm asking something, you respond. Maybe wrong answer, you may tell your name when I ask some question, not an issue, but you respond something. Okay, that's what I'll be expecting. Today you may say your name, the next day others name, third day about application name, something else. So you have to start with the process. If you say I'm like this, I have a good score in my degree and MBA, etc., something else qualifications I have, nothing will help. If you are speaking about subject, they'll take you. Otherwise, you can go with your own job. That's all. Okay, fine. We'll connect tomorrow then. Thank you. Thanks.